Hello, everyone, and welcome to CareersTalk. I am Sunan Sharma, and I work as an Agile consultant in the Netherlands. And today, we have a special guest, Anjali, who successfully passed 4 interviews against all odds. She is based in the USA, and we are going to talk about the questions she faced in her interviews. And of course, this is part one of the session, so part two will come soon. So, friends, before we start, if you're new here, please do subscribe. And if you find the session valuable, please hit that like button. So, without further delay, let's start. So, hi Anjali, welcome. And before we start, I want to say a big thank you. It's 1 a.m. on the Friday night in the USA, and I know your kid is sick. Despite all that, you are here for this session. So it shows your commitment and dedication. I think that's really stand out. And I think that's one of the reason you have succeeded in 4 interviews. So even with all this negativity around Scrum Master jobs. So before we start, could you briefly share your background and how long it took you to succeed in these interviews? Many people think that the job market is not that great. So what do you did differently? Anjali,
Hi,
over to you.
Sunand. Thank you so much. Hi, Sunand. And extremely thank you for giving me this opportunity, firstly. Second, I don't know how much I should thank you, Career Talk, my family, to push me towards this entire journey of studying for the Scrum Master position, doing the certifications, and then getting this job, helping me to get this job. You have helped me tremendously to prepare for all my interviews. And I am so thankful for all the classes that you took for me and gave me the roadmap and made sure that uh, a person who has taken such a big gap after my pregnancy, I came back on this IT journey and I have accomplished to become a Scrum Master. So thank you firstly, first to you as my guru, and then my family to support me through all the odds, especially in this market where everyone was scaring me so much that, oh, there is no position available, and no, you'll not get a remote job. It's not possible. So you have to manage, you have to go to office. All these questions came up in my mind, but you have helped me through a lot. So I'll give a brief about myself. I completed my education in commerce and I finished everything way long back. After that, I came to US on H4 and I was studying, trying to do some certifications here and there, but nothing was working out. So after getting my EAD, I started looking into IT jobs, but then family planning and everything happened. So now I came back into the in a journey where I wanted to come back and see how I can come into IT, because this is the only way where I thought is possible for me to do a remote job and come into the IT world, where you see that so many people from India come with all the possible dreams to America to come into IT and make a beautiful family of their own. So I came into that and I started studying. Thank you to you and everyone. I landed up on CareersTalk website one day on the YouTube channel, on the channel, and I saw some videos and I was like, okay, let's give it a try. And I think it was one of the best ways to understand what is business analyst, what is Scrum Master, what is product owner, what are all the other roles as an agile team that we can go ahead and we can try to study and try to make our own career in it. So this was one place where I started. And yes, past 7 to 8 months, the whole preparation, doing all the certifications, trying to do safe, trying to do CSM, everything starting from scratch, making sure you help me with every small understanding about Agile, about Scrum. And then also my husband, my family helping me out. So thank you so much. Um, this has helped me to crack the interviews with all odds.
That's wonderful. I think it's your dedication. I have seen, like, the way you are asking me question in those sessions, and you make my life hell, but that's good. That's, I think, at the end, it's paid off. So, okay, that's good. Okay. So, if you allow, shall we start?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Okay. So, the very first question is share one thing which you love most about being a Scrum Master, and share one thing which you don't like or dislike about being a Scrum Master? So yeah, that's for you.
Okay. So this is one very close to my heart question because recently it's been 8 to 9 months that I'm preparing for this position, and I've landed up with a very good job. I think as a Scrum Master, there are many, many things that I absolutely love about, but the most important aspect that I feel is um, we have a very valuable position in the whole team. That and why that valuable position I feel is because I can facilitate effective communication. I can help bring out many, many aspects of all the team members and make them stand out in their own position, fostering collaboration, improving impediments for the entire team. So now, when we say removing impediments or improving the position where they are in the impediments, also makes a huge difference because you get to collaborate with all the other possible team members or with higher management, some other team members from other teams, and you get to know people. You get to collaborate in every different aspect. So we contribute to a positive team culture, promote agile principles, ensure Scrum framework is implemented smoothly, ultimately enhancing the team's productivity and delivery. So love connecting with everyone on a personal front, but on a professional front, mainly we get to know everyone. So that's really, really helpful. And we get to understand everyone on a different aspect. So that really helps. So that's one of the biggest asset of being a Scrum Master. But another is the toughest aspect. I won't say I dislike anything because I'm very grateful to God for giving me this position. But the toughest aspect, I think, is often managing and resolving conflicts. So, be it within the team or addressing resistance to agile practices, um, it requires a very delicate balance of interpersonal skills, patience, and empathy, deep understanding of the principles. But this has been very interesting every time I encounter a situation like this, and I get to grow in my very experience. So it really helps me.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Sunil.
Great. Okay, let's move on to the second one. So, could you share any examples of any challenging impediment which you encountered during the Scrum events? And most importantly, how do you handle it to ensure that team's success in real time? So, yeah,
Yeah, so actually, there have been many situations in this very short span of time where I have been started my journey. But challenging impediment has been that um, one of the team members, he was usually what was happening is that suppose we are having a daily stand up. So during the daily stand up, the team member is present, and it is a large team that we have. And the team member, there's the lead developer. So just to make sure to have open communication and attentiveness of everyone in the daily stand-up, because usually it's in the morning and there are some offshore team members also. They want to go home, they are in a hurry, they are not paying attention. So what happens is that I try to pass on my like the baton to each other from themselves. I don't call out names. So I tell them, okay, for example, it is Sunan and Anjali. I will say, okay, Sunan, go ahead with your updates and then pass it on. So Sunan will pass it on to Anjali for that example. So he was not paying attention to who he needs to pass on to. Only until and unless someone calls his name, he will listen. Being the lead developer, he will listen to what is going on. And then he'll say, I don't know who finished, or I was not paying attention every time. So I went on a one-on-one call with him, and I explained him that this is going to be difficult because what is happening is redundant questions have been being asked are being asked to the product owner. And when those questions are already answered, and the product owner is getting a little bit agitated because of this behavior, and so we need to understand what is the issue. Are you having any issues on the personal front? Are you multitasking with housework or anything else? I tried to ask him. And he said that no, it's being difficult for him to manage work because kids are getting ready for school, and it's early in the morning for us. So I tried to understand his situation. Gave him some examples that how he can help himself only during that particular time, because we are having stand up and collaboration at the same time. So he understood, but I feel that this gave me a very open aspect, that what exactly we need to do in such kind of situation where they lack active participation or engagement. So open communication is very important. We need to have like safe communication where they I need to build trust with each of the team members, so they can share with me what is their exact situation. Otherwise, there are many ways that they can probably tell me XYZ thing, and I'm not even able to help them out in that situation. So another thing that we need to explain is that what is the purpose of this stand up or the daily stand up, and why are we doing this, how it is going to help us in quick alignment, understanding impediments, promoting collaboration. That will help, benefits of it. And then, as I said, we need to rotate the speaking order, not make sure that the same team member will start or the same team member will end the call, so that they are trying to pay attention, is what will help. And yes, time boxing effectively is very important.
Great.
Yes.
Only one thing I keep on telling you, and you keep on forgetting. That is daily
Huh?
scrum goal, not daily stand-ups. That's
Yes.
okay. That's okay. That's the only thing which you have not changed. Okay. Anyway, let's move on.
Thank
I
you,
think
Sunil. Thank you so
I
much.
think you really have covered the scenario really well. Okay, that's good. Let's move on. So the next one is regarding the product owner. So how do you collaborate with the product owner to ensure a effective prioritization? So maybe you can provide an example of a situation where maintaining a healthy product backlog with prioritized stories was important, you know. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So, this recently they gave me one more team where it happened that the team is only business oriented. There is no development activities with the team, and they were using a Kanban board, and they want to come to the Scrum board. They want to start using the Scrum board now. So what is happening is that the team members are being coached on what to do, how to go about it, and everything. So, but the product owner basically feels that okay, we should just move all the stories from the Kanban board, replicate them, clone them into the stories on the Scrum board. But the problem is that the stories are so less on the Kanban board that they were not even written properly with the criteria that should be written as a product owner. There is no invest criteria that's being used. There is no way that the user stories or the acceptance criteria are should be in the way that agile methodologies or scrum methodologies are teaching. So that is missing, and then hence we had to tell the product owner. I went ahead, spoke to the product owner, and I explained that okay, if we need to have this um, team using the scrum board or even the Kanban board, first of all the backlog needs to be healthy. Now, what is healthy backlog means that you should have at least stories for next 2 to 3 sprints, not the entire PI. Maybe if we are doing safe, we are using PI planning, and we are not even doing that, implementing that. We've not started with that. I will be in next PI will be my first PI with the team, but that is when I will absolutely encourage them to have everything for the next entire quarter, to have the stories ready, and we will be participating in the PI planning. But for now, since I joined recently, still they were not participating in any PI planning until now as a team. So maintaining an healthy backlog at this moment that we should have for this quarter is having at least the next 2 sprints of backlog ready with our sprints, with the stories sized, and with the stories having proper description, proper acceptance criteria. So that is very important. But apart from that, like this whole thing, like to collaborate with the product owner also, it was very important for me to understand what were the business goals. So I first try to understand whether the business goals are as per what the product owner is understanding And that is why the stories are this much. They are not prioritized in that order, or this, is there any gap between the business and the stakeholder, like between the stakeholders and the product owner. So stakeholder input is also very important for me. I ask them to start including me into calls. I will be a silent listener. If I need to talk, I will let them know that, okay, this is what my opinion is. But I was trying to observe what the stakeholder was trying to tell the product owner, gather the input from them, and then see how I can help the product owner also. So, other than that, effective prioritization is very important. Like user story refinement is very important. I was sitting with my product owner for almost 2 weeks to refine user stories in the product backlog. First of all, we went ahead and we wrote all the stories in a healthy way with all the criteria that are mentioned, and then we started prioritizing the stories, but breaking down the stories on high level requirements into smaller manageable tasks was what we tried to do. Other than that, value based prioritization is what we did, using techniques like Moscow prioritization or business value estimation is what we tried to target, and continuous communication, yes, with the product owner, so that if the product owner is facing any difficulties, any issues, let me know and I can help out in every way possible. That's what helped me. Apart from that, a continuous feedback, even from the product owner and stakeholder, also helped us as a team. So the team also was trying to help me out in this front, so that if I was trying to take some feedback from the team members also, that how they want the product owner's inputs in every possible way, so that they can help them leverage their work. That's all from me, Sunil.
Great for that elaborated answer. Okay, friends, maybe you don't have to give that vast answer, but that's okay, I think. Okay, so let's move on. The next one is regarding estimate. So, as a Scrum Master, share your approach to ensure the accurate estimate for user stories completion time. So, it happened that some of the time people struggle to close their user stories, maybe due to the wrong estimate. So, in your project, how do you ensure that the team deliver the product at the end of each sprint? That's a very common challenge. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. This question was asked in my interview also, in actually two of my interviews. So you preparing me for this was very helpful. Thank you, Sunan. So actually ensuring accurate estimates for story completion time and consistent delivery, actually, it at every sprint, at end of each sprint, it requires very thoughtful approach, in the sense that yes, we need to make sure that during backlog refinements and also a pre-check, you can say, during sprint planning should be done. And how it should be done is what we should have proper facilitation estimation sessions after the story is written, after the description, acceptance criteria, everything. The story is in a ready state to understand for the developer, the tester, the team members, that what exactly the story is about, what are the requirements from the business, the stakeholders, and what the product owner is trying to convey to us. So that extreme understanding for the story, everything, if the story requires a mock-up, if the story requires any scripts, if the story requires anything and everything should be ready. So when the story is in a to-do state, we will be able to size it accurately, analyze the story accurately, and then go ahead and size the story. So that is very important. And when, especially when the team collectively discusses and estimates the effort required for each user story, it will be more beneficial if it is in the ready state. So that definition of ready should be very well defined. So that will help us to understand and analyze the story. Another thing that we should be using is using relative sizing techniques. So it's very important that how we are sizing the story, and by estimating the complexity of the user story also. So only this helps in abstracting from specific time units and focuses on the relevant relative effort also. So this will help. But apart from that, maintaining a definition of done, definition of ready is very, very important. Both these things. So when you are collaborating with the team to establishing and maintaining a very clear definition of done for each user story, this will help us to make sure that we understand the criteria that must be met for the story to be considered complete. So that's how we will be able to estimate it accordingly. That if the story is complex, what are the risks, what are the mitigation plans that will be involved, how much time it's going to take, everything. Then we will be able to make sure that we try to review the story very correctly, very aptly, and then size the story. Apart from that, regularly review and adjust the estimation practices. Now, see, conducting retrospectives is very important. When we conduct retrospectives, if such situations have been happening in the past, then we need to understand and then identify areas for improvement. So that will help us with the team's feedback and the team's experience also. The older the team gets, the more experience the team will gain, and we will be able to try to analyze our own mistakes, and it will help us to improve every sprint. And yes, involvement of the whole team. If the team is facing any difficulties to analyze the story, then we can take help from their peers, and they can join in one of the backlog refinement sessions, and they can try to help the team to analyze the story and size the story in an accurate manner. So this will be very important. And yes, monitoring and managing the scope also. So if we work very well with the product owner and especially the team members, so that will really help them to avoid overcommitting and make sure that the whole backlog actually is in a realistically achievable way prioritized. So these are the things that I feel are very important.
Great. Thank you for that. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so maybe you can share a scenario from your project where you will involving with multiple teams. So, for example, integration team, DevOps team, or let's say customer support team. So you might face few challenges when you are going to, coordinate with all these teams. So how you address those impediments to team delivery, or what techniques you have used to anticipate all these things? Yeah.
Yes, so this is actually usually very, very crucial. So this is since the team that I got is having some cross functionality um, development activities with DevOps teams also and integration teams also. So the thing is that making sure that we anticipate these problems, these risks, these collaborations ahead of time during our analysis phase, during our backlog refinement sessions, and especially the product owner and the development and our team members are trying to focus on these areas also, making sure we are knowing who we need to collaborate, whether this story is in this particular sprint. Okay, we need to understand that, okay, we need to make sure ahead of time to inform these team members of cross functional environment is going to be present. We need your help in a timely manner. So that is very important. So that technique is regular participation of everyone in these cross functional team meetings. It will really help. So during usually sprint retrospective, team members they express their concerns about delays in integration issues, or when there is any new features and there is miscommunication, or the team members from the other teams are not present. So that really has a major delay in our development activities. So that really needs to be first point of mitigation plan that we need to address ahead of time, so that we can inform them ahead of time that this sprint we will be needing their help. That also includes that complete open communication, create a group or create once or twice a week timely meetings, cross functional meetings between these team members, our team members and the other team members, and that will help us to make sure that we are in line and in par with what we are needing from the other team to complete our sprint goals. Continuous collaboration. Other than that, implementing DevOps practices, it really helps. So advocating DevOps practices to streamline the integration and development processes, that really helps. But as a Scrum Master, we have to collaborate. Continuous collaboration is very important between the team members, especially the DevOps team to the automated to implement the automated testing or to deployment pipelines. So it really needs a lot of effort from our end also to continuously collaborate with these team members. And such cross team dependencies, for me, I feel the collaboration is one of the very most important aspect. So this will really help. Regular check-ins will really help that, okay, do you need anything? Do you need anything from my team? Can I help you in any other way that you can help us achieve our sprint goals? So that these are a few techniques that I feel will really help us to um, address these issues.
Wonderful. Great. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so can you discuss a scenario where you provide a feedback to maybe your team members? So, how do you ensure that your feedback is constructive and should lead to a tangible improvements over the period of time?
Okay. Yeah, so actually, it's one example is I can think of is just in the recent team where it was in a forming stage, and I joined, and we were talking about spillovers, and we were talking about definition of done, definition of ready, and mock-ups that the team needed. And it was not usually being ready in a timely manner. For example, it was going according to the stakeholders and the product owners' convenience. So what was happening is that the agile development team was facing a lot of issues with lot of spillovers because uh, we are in a 3 week sprint, and usually the 1.5 to 2 weeks, if the development activities are done, then the QA activities can be done in a timely manner, focusing on some small stories ahead of time and then larger stories a little bit later, so that the QA will be occupied also in a timely manner. But what was happening is that the product owner was not having enough information that they can give to the UI UX designer to complete the mockups. So there was a very miscommunication, and the stories were added in the sprint before I joined the team. And the stories were added into the sprint even without the mockups being ready. The stories were sometimes not sized correctly. Once the requirements for the mockups were ready, the stories were being sized. So what happened is that such kind of when I spoke to the team in the first retrospective after observing the first entire sprint, when I joined in, I gave them my feedback saying that I think we should first of all make sure that we can take in stories and start fresh from this upcoming sprint. Let's do our planning very rigorously. Make sure that, okay, we want to take the stories only if they are completely ready. We will set our definition of ready today, set our definition of done today, and then we will move according to this only. There is no change that's going to happen without us making sure that we are abiding by these criteria. So the team took it very constructively, and the team was like, yes, I think this will really help, because there was spillovers of probably 40 to 50 story points that was in the past few sprints. The velocity that I saw was completely up and down. So we were like, we need to try to build our velocity slowly. Let's not rush into that. Let's not take too many stories first. Let's try to take it slow and steady. And the team really agreed to that, and they thought about it, and they were like, okay, let's go with this approach. So it's really helping the team right now. That's it. It's for me.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you. Okay, uh, yeah, let's move on. So, building a trusting environment is always important, crucial for a Scrum Master. So, can you share an example of a time when you resolved a significant problem within the team, and how do you maintain the respect among the team members during this process? Yeah.
Yes, sure. So actually, there was one issue which I recently encountered, and the issue is very it comes into a manner that there was one team member who is an offshore team member, and she was trying to communicate with one of the team members from another environment in testing. She needed some help from that person, and it was that he needs to do some back end work, try to test in another environment. And she was working in the lower environment. So she wanted him to make sure that he can switch from his work, he can switch the environments into the lower environment, and he can help her try to do some testing there. So she tried to reach out to him, and he was a little bit disrespectful. And she felt very offended. She called me and she felt very emotional about the whole situation. So she was like, okay, this is something that I really don't know how to take it about. But this is not the way that someone can speak to me. And I tried to approach in a very respectful manner. So and this was a very crucial situation because she is going to be communicating with the same person from the other team back and forth every time in each sprint. So if there is anything that can damage the situation in this particular moment, I thought that no, we have to try to make sure that we save this situation, save the relationship between them, and make sure that they are comfortable working together going forward. So asked her to speak to him first by herself, tell her what the issue is, and speak to him, make sure she addresses that this was what she felt bad about the situation. And she didn't like the way he spoke to her. She didn't like what he was trying to, the way he conveyed to her. And then, if it doesn't resolve at all, if he doesn't come back to her, he doesn't reciprocate her issues in a better way, in a respectful way, I will intervene that time. So I was like, if you can handle the situation first, then I will make sure that I can. It will be very nice because you are going to break that ice by yourself instead of some third person coming and intervening. If it doesn't work, then obviously I am here and I will go and talk to that person by myself and try to bring you on call later. So, but she got the courage and she went ahead and she spoke to him and she tried to resolve and she told what she really felt bad, and it really helped them both to resolve the issue, and now they are doing fantastic. So
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that.
thank you so
Okay.
much.
Let's move on. Okay. So you mentioned about tracking matrices. So can you elaborate on any specific matrices which you tracked and how they contributed to the team effectiveness in your project? So yeah, any specific particular matrices which you used?
Yes, actually, the velocity chart that is really helping me out as soon as I joined in. Um, the entire team was having a complete different set of expectations from themselves, and the stories that were be added, stories were being removed from the sprint during the sprint that is going on, and the scope was being changed continuously as per what they were feeling like doing. So it was going very up and down. The velocity chart was absolutely not in place. They didn't have a consistent start of the velocity nor the end of the velocity. So there was sometimes one velocity as per their past five velocities that I saw from the past five sprints. There was one velocity that showed 147 as their story points, and one was like 22. So it was completely different. So when I started, I spoke to them. That really helped me to understand what the issue is going on within the team and how I can help them out. So I spoke to them, I tried to understand and I tried to explain them that, okay, these are the issues that we are facing. And as I gave the example before, that we spoke what we should be doing, what we should have as our definition of ready, definition of done. This was the first metrics that really helped me to understand the whole situation, what the team is facing, what are the difficulties the team is facing, and then I try to help them out in that way.
Okay.
Thank you, Sunil.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So now let's move on. So next one is regarding yeah, agile practices and coaching the team. So how do you ensure that your team will achieve that high level of agile maturity? That's always a challenging task. So can you share your approach or any success or any lesson learned from your past experience?
Yes, so right now, what I'm trying to implement with the team is because since this is my first two teams, I'm trying to implement with the second team especially, is making sure how to assess. So I started assessing the team's current maturity, the agile maturity when I joined in. We had a couple of retrospectives and some team discussions. We tried to understand what exactly their clear goals are for improvement and how we can establish them. We had some collaboration sessions. We had all the team members with the product owner, myself, and everyone else to align on what the team should have as their objectives for this quarter, for the next quarter, and for the whole year also. So we had individual goals set up. Apart from this, this helped me to have some tailored coaching practices for the team. So I have made a list that I'm trying to make sure that every session we are going by this particular tailored coaching way, and it is helping me address all the specific challenges that the team has been facing until now. For example, refining user story creations, improving their communication, sprint plannings, definition of ready, definition of done, estimating the stories, all the possible aspects we are trying to touch base one by one, and it is helping the team. And it is helping me understanding the team also. So it's giving me a very close touch towards the team. Building trust is also happening within the team members because everyone is trying to give their ideas, everyone is trying to talk to each other. So that is one another aspect. Apart from that, that's helping. So indirectly, it's helping the team collaborate very well, and they are trying to mature in every one step that we are taking towards agile maturity also. So that is one thing. Apart from that, empowering self organization is very important. So I'm trying to encourage the team to make sure they take the ownership of their own stories, of their entire process that they are trying to go through every sprint. So this not only fosters a culture of self-organization, but is also empowering all the team members to take some decisions collectively together and trying to discuss in a healthy way, having healthy conflicts also. So with these healthy conflicts, they're coming to a very conclusive and very good decisions also. So this is helping. Apart from that, we are having a regular retrospective on the previous decisions that we are taking, how we made our last coaching session. How was that? How did it help? How it is helping them today? And what do they think that they need to improve in their communication or collaboration for today so that they can take a better step for achieving a goal that we have been setting for this particular session. And yes, feedbacks from all team members. And another very important aspect is that we are celebrating every small achievement within ourselves. Like if we are accomplishing even one story in a very good way, our velocity, our burn down chart is absolutely beautiful. That's what we are trying to achieve. Even we are trying to celebrate also those small wins. So that's helping us.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for that. Okay, so the next one is regarding team dependencies. So
Mhm.
we all understand that eliminating the team dependencies and enforcing the Scrum and the Agile principles can be a substantial task for any Scrum Master. So can you describe the process which you implemented to ensure that the team become a high performing, based on your past experience or some real type scenarios?
Yes, not as a past experience, but yes, especially when you were teaching me and when you gave me some examples on this, because this is something that will for sure in my Scrum Master journey happen with me. But as a Scrum Master, usually when such two teams are having significant interdependencies, which are leading to some delays in project timelines, then, as a Scrum Master, I need to take a proactive approach to manage such dependencies effectively. Dependency mapping is very important. So, as I need to understand thoroughly what is the dependency that is coming in and identifying these critical interdependencies between two teams. And this will help me collaborate very closely with both the product owners, the team leads, especially, and if needed, the relevant stakeholders. So, and what will happen is this, after understanding their interdependencies in a very in depth, I will be able to regularly sync meetings between the team members. So not the entire team needs to spend time on this. I need to make a strategic way that the team members discuss on a very open platform, and they try to resolve the issue there and there. Else we try to align on a higher level with the product owners and of each team members, and ensuring that both the teams are on the same page. Having risk mitigation strategies is very important. So if we are having a particular risk, we should have a mitigation plan for that also. So you either have a contingency plan, you have escalation plans, and you have shared responsibilities also to address the dependencies. So that will really help the team members to address such interdependencies on a higher scale. And planning, yes, planning advocatively is very important. So if there are regular refinements sessions, make sure that we are adjusting our sprint goals as per the interdependencies are taking place in that particular sprint. We make sure we track our progress for those dependent tasks, and we try to align on those objectives. So that will really help to reduce all the delays. And yes, apart from that, we have to think on a higher level about the stakeholder satisfaction also, right? Along with our team member satisfaction, we have to think about what the work we are producing. It has to be improved quality. So that's very important. So if we manage our complex projects efficiently, that will in within the time frame that is being given, it will be helping us to deliver or be very productive towards our goal.
Wonderful. Great. Okay. I think we are good for today because still we have a lot of questions, but I think it's almost 30 to 40 minutes and it's pretty late for you as well. So I think thank you. Thank you for being with us today. And friends, we hope you got useful information from this session. And please do comment and like this video to support us. Your feedback help us to make better content for you. And if you are new, subscribe and join our Career Stock family. So see you in the next session. Bye. And thank you one more time.
Thank you. Thank you, Sunan. Thank you so much for the opportunity.